Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm here to show you how to do a stucco patch around this plumbing repair that Dustin, the homeowner, has had done for him. And I'm going to try and do this in real time so you guys can see exactly how long it's going to take to do something like this. I figure it might be 30 minutes and I should have this wrapped up. So if that's going to be the case, I better get going. First, I want to show you the tools you're going to need to do something like this. I've got a scoop. You're going to need a clean scoop, okay? A couple of hammers. I got 1, 2 hammers. I've got my lathing axe here. I've got some shears to cut my wire over here that's going to go on after I put the paper on and waterproof this as best I can. I've got some bull nips here for pulling out any nails, some pliers for just in case I need some pliers, and then some aviation snips with a good spring on them. Okay, and then to the caulking, what I'm using, this is 40-year caulking. Let's see, all-purpose acrylic latex caulking plus silicone. A good clean sponge float, a hawk, a trowel, might want to wear a dust mask, some water to drink. I've got about 6 or 7 staples in my hand tacker gun right here, and that's going to be enough. I shouldn't need more than 6 or 7 staples for this little patch right here. I've got a backup hand tacker if I need it. I've got a grinder here if I need it, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just use the 2 hammers to crack out the stucco up here and expose the wire. There is no paper up in here. It's been disintegrated. I can't even feel it as high up as I can reach back up in here. So we just do the best we can to counter flash this, unless you are bent on making sure that you've got paper in the wall. Well, then you would have to take out this section and counter flash up underneath the existing flashing here, if there is any. So I say the majority of the time, stucco doesn't leak. Stucco won't leak. If you have a crack in your wall, water will get in there and leak. So if you had some cracks up here, you might want to caulk them, and then you're probably going to be good to go. So without making a mountain out of a molehill, what we do is we just counter flash our paper on the sides here as best we can, and then we just stick our paper up here as high as we can reach. And then we call that good. So get your eye protection on. You want to expose. Watch out for this plumbing. Any plumbing he's got plenty of plumbing in here, so we have to be careful of that. So take this, it's a little bit flatter here. Maybe I can crack these rocks off. This is an eastern exposed wall here, so the stucco is going to be a little bit harder on this side of the wall than it will be on the southern exposure. Okay, so let me try some pliers here. I gotta be careful with the pliers because I might break the wire. I really don't want to break the wire. I want to make sure that the wire is in good shape here to tie in. I'm being real careful not to hit this pipe back here. Okay, it's a good strong ABS it looks like, but I don't want to crack that. Okay, that's the repair that Dustin just paid $800 for the plumber to fix. So I don't want to have the plumber come back out again on my account. So we're getting a good amount of wire here to tie in. Need a little bit more over here. Looks like I got to take advantage of this stud right here. Make sure there's no plumbing up here that I'm going to hit. Okay, get a little bit more. Okay, good. Okay, so I think that's going to be good there. And over here, let's see what we got. I could probably counter flash that a little bit better. Let's see if I've got my knife here. Did I not display my knife in the original display? I've got a knife right here. And I like to use these long knives here because I can get back up here and pull that paper back away from that wood there so I can get my new paper back up in there. Okay, so this might be a place where this pliers come in handy. Pull that nail out right there. Okay. There's a chunk of stucco in there I'd like to get out too. See that? And we go up here and we open up that paper a little bit. I could go over the paper too, but I just feel like I'm gonna get a better seal if I go under the paper here. And then there's a little nail right here that's gonna be in my way if I don't set it home. So I'm gonna do that. And make sure I'm gonna be able to get my new paper back up in there. Okay, so after I make sure that I'm gonna be able to get my paper in there, I'm gonna just pull this nail out a little bit for a second to get my paper up over by that vent. Okay, so then we take our paper, however you want to do it, whatever it takes to get your paper back up in here. Got one of those nails in my way right there. I was able to get over it. Okay. Yeah, we send that guy back there as much as we can. And try lifting it up as high as you can for a minute while I get a staple in there or two. Okay, now I want to cut my length, or rather my width on this, right to the edge of that vent right there. Now I got to cut this pipe. Got to kind of guesstimate where it's going to be cut. All right, I'm going to cut a little bit off of there. A little bit off of there. Okay, I got to go back in there. So I got a hole in the paper here. I need to get back over there a little bit further and try and get that paper up. I have to pull that one staple out. Okay, I'm getting somewhere here. Pull it over. Make it tight. Okay, now I'm going to cut out for this pipe. So okay, cut this off here. Cut the bottom. Okay, you notice I got a little bit more up there than I should have, so I slip some paper up underneath here. In fact, let's make a better circle right there for that piece. Helps to have a nice sharp blade when you're doing this stuff. Something like that. Something like that. Okay, I want to get this back behind that pipe. Make it a little better back there. we go. That's a little better. All right, now cut off the excess there. Okay, got that, got that. Got a little bit of a spot there I don't like. I'm gonna put a piece of paper here too. Now, I'm gonna caulk around that. I'll get some caulking here. Caulk around that. Aim it the right direction. Let's see. Doesn't have to be pretty, but it helps. Also, I want to mention anything underneath here isn't most critical, because anything underneath this line right here, actually this line right here, anything underneath this line isn't the most critical thing, because water gets in here anyway, and it gets down there on that redwood mud sill right there. And so that's what I'm saying, is this isn't the most critical place to have a leak, you know, because the water gets into this system here, right here anyway. Okay, so I'm gonna caulk that right there. Caulk this back up in here. All right. All right, now that we've got that far, we can start running our wire. So what we want to do is we want to fold this wire down here now. Okay. Then, see if I've got my tape measure here. That would have been a good thing to put on display for the tools that I need. But if I don't have my tape measure, I can just take my piece of wire and hold it up on the wall to get my measurement and cut it in place. There we go. Okay, so see how much wire I'm going to need here. So I can just cut this out right in place. Okay, now got that. Okay, now I cut it tight to the angle of the stucco. I cut it tight to the repair. Okay, what do we got here? Okay, and then around this guy here. All right, now should be all I need to cut. Let's see, this one and this one. Okay, take it out now. There. Okay, put this aside. The only bad thing about caulking these before you put the wire in is you get all gooped up with caulking. Try not to put it on the edge like I just did right there. That's not going to be good for the seal. Okay. Now we take our nails. I got small nails here. I've got, first of all, I'm going to take my underneath that and just put it right down here. Okay, so I've got some nails here, 5Ds, and I've got these 1.5 inch roofing nails too. You can use either one of these, the 5D nails, or these 1.5 inch roofing nails work pretty good too. Okay, drink of water. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 8 nails. All right, so what I like to do is I like to use my magnetic wristband. Put that guy there, and then I just put my nails on there, and it's just really simple for me to have my next nail ready to go. So it's just like that. Gotta find the solid blocking. Oh, that wasn't very good. Nope. Nope. There we go. There's one. Now, where's that block? I might be able to get it better with one of these smaller guys here. Angle it in like this. Kind of like whatever it takes on these little jobs like this. Let me see if I've got anything to nail to up here or something. That's pretty good. And I know I had something down here to nail to, because that mud sill is running all the way along the bottom. If you can, try to bend it over like that and pull it tight. Down here, got one here. Okay, just a couple more nails. Okay, snip off any of this excess on the bottom like this, and you're good to go. See if we can get one more nail right there. I'd like to see a nail right here. I'm gonna pull that tight right there. Now, up here what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bend these ends of the wire around the existing wire and make a good tie-in. All right, that's a good little product right there. Now comes the mudding part. That's the fun part. So, what we're using for mud is we got some fast set stucco here, and we're going to use some regular stucco. I like to call it my stretcher. That's going to make this go a little bit further, and it's going to even make it stronger. It's going to be an ideal kind of a thing here, an ideal stucco patch. So, without further ado, I've got 2 buckets here, one with about a quart of water in it, and then we'll put a little more water in there. So you can drill this if you want. I'm going to mix it by hand. I'm going to start with this stuff here though, the regular stucco. This might be a good place for dust mask. Good clean dust mask. All right, now something to mix it up. I could use a drill. I got my drill with me, but I really don't need a drill. You know, I really don't need a drill for this little guy. Like I said, I have my drill with me, and I could drill this, but it doesn't take much to mix this up by hand. right, let's get a shot down in the bucket. You can see how it's really wet. See how it's really wet still? But I'm going to take care of that right now by adding some fast set stucco to it. Okay, now let's put some of this stuff in it, and then they've got to get going on it right away because this is fast set here. Okay, this is going to make it go off fast, and it works. I got this at Lowe's. It's about $10 a bag for this. Well worth it. Takes about 20 minutes. You got about 20 minutes of working time with this. No longer though, especially in the summertime. Here, I'm going to do it like this. Take it like this so you can see it a little better. Okay, put my mask on. My glasses here. Okay. Take this off now. I don't need this anymore. Okay, one more scoop. Put one more scoop in. It's all a guessing game. I know what I'm doing though, because I've done this 100 times, so what I'm doing is I'm just keep adding it until it gets to the consistency I want to apply it to the wall. And I know that's going to be good enough. Definitely don't want it too tight, because when I say tight, too stiff. You don't want it too stiff because it's getting ready to get hard on you already when it's like that. Okay, so it's just a little bit loose still. I want it a little bit tighter. If it gets to be too tight, you can always add more water to it and loosen it up a little bit. Okay. Go ahead and take a shot down in here and see what we got going. See, that's about the consistency you want it right there. It's a little heavy. So, okay, here we go. So, I've got this little trowel here. I've had this trowel for probably 10 years. I don't know, 5 years. But see how it's all worn out? Looks like you might just want to throw it in the trash. Well, I'll tell you what. It's probably one of my better trowels for something like this because it can get in these nooks and crannies a lot easier than this big trowel here. So what we do is we put one coat on first and let that take up. And then we put the second coat on. Let that take up. And then we'll go ahead and texture it and blend it in with the wall. You really want to pack it in there if you can. Try to pack it in that joint. Okay. Here we go. What's that? Somebody's horn? Somebody's alarm going off?
Yeah. It's
never fails. I'll tell you, there's always something. A railroad, you know, airport. When you do these videos, there's always some, like a guy was doing he was washing his car with the power washer for like 15 minutes. He was out there after I started doing a video. I'm
Oh,
not going to
man.
use that as junk. Got plenty of mud left. So, okay, we're getting there. Halfway there.
Yeah, it's looking good.
Yeah. The mud is just right. I love this mud.
Yeah, it looks like it thickened up pretty good.
Oh, it's just great for these small jobs. Oh, in the past, we used to have to use just regular cement. You know, when I say in the past, I mean 20 years ago. We used like regular cement, and then we'd come back the next day, you know, to finish. But, or we'd one coat it, right, and it would sag. You know, it just didn't look good.
Right.
Of course, all mine look good. Yeah. All mine look good. I saw some other guys, though. They weren't as lucky. Okay, so it's already kind of taking up a little bit. Okay, so except for right here. So just do that, okay? But we want to get our mud on there. Get your mud on there as best you can. You want to get it out of your bucket. Okay. So this amount of mud I have left here is going to bring us real close to having this planed out flat and smooth and ready for the finish coat. But it is going to take some time. There is a difference between this material and the material Home Depot sells. Home Depot will sell some rapid set. We used rapid set for years, and it was just too fast. It would go off just way too fast. You know, so I started using this stuff from Lowe's. Real skeptical about it, but you know, because to me, it's slow. You know, this stuff takes too long to take up. You know, but once it starts to go, it's okay. It works real well. I wouldn't say that if it didn't. Okay. Don't forget under here. I'm not nervous. I'm just purposely moving my trowel like that to let it slide off of my trowel as I work it. Trying to keep it from sagging up here. So that's just going to be a matter of time before it takes up along that edge. It usually takes up along the edge faster than it will in the field. But on the edge, right on this one up here, is where we're having a little bit more. I don't really want to say an issue, because it's not an issue. But I mean, if I had to say I had an issue, if I had to, I could say that it's I'm having an issue up here because it's taking longer to take up. But that's only because I'm trying to do a video in a fast amount of time, I guess. So like I said, we're going to be really close to having it planed off. It's not, I guess maybe if I wouldn't have spilt so much, I probably would have had enough, but that's actually not spilling so much. Okay, so we're going to clean this up a little bit, and then we're going to come back in a couple of minutes, and I'll finish it up. Okay, so I'm going to use the same recipe as I did the first time, with a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So probably a little bit more of this, so that the top coat will kick a little bit faster. But it's not going to take much more, so I'm just going to put the water in there like that. Okay. I could even use my scoop if I wanted to. I'm going to just take my scoop, put more water in. Okay, here we go. Uh-oh, my mask. My good clean mask. Okay, so I don't want to breathe this stuff. All right, all set. So it's not going to take much. So something like that. I'm going to have to add some of this stuff here. I'm going to need more water anyway, so. Okay, now. That should do it. Let's see. I want it a little tighter. For now. Later on I'll add more water in it when I do the texture. But I want this to go off. You know? I could use this straight if I wanted to. I don't have to add that. I don't have to add this. I just don't like the way it acts, you know, when you use this straight. I like to mix it with regular cement. All right, it's getting there. A little loose. But it's hot. It's loose, but it's hot. It's going to take up fast because I got a lot of fire in it. So I think I'll use this big trowel now.
Is there a reason why you got that wet before you put that on there?
Before I got it wet? Oh.
The trowel? The big trowel.
Oh, the big trowel? Not really. Just cleaning it off. Force a habit, maybe.
I gotcha.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good now. It's not going to fall out, so it's pretty good. How long has it been, Dustin? 40 minutes?
Yep, 40 minutes exactly.
40?
Yep.
Wow. I guess it takes an hour.
Shit, not if I'd have been doing it.
Well, hopefully it'll
I'd
be
have been here all
hour.
night.
Well, yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to schedule your, you know, your day around it.
For sure. Yeah, it's looking good.
Yeah, it's coming along. Okay, so we got it leveled out now. Now we have to wait for it to take up completely, and then we can go ahead and put the texture on it, which would be about, hopefully, 5 minutes. Meanwhile, I'll go ahead and keep an eye on it. When it starts to take up, I'll take my green sponge float and go around these edges, and I'll clean this up like this, you know, and I'll make sure that's nice and flat. Nice plain surface right there. I'll float the whole thing, and then I do some kind of look at the wall and see these little tiny lines back up in there that you got from the trowel marks. So I'll run my float going that direction to give it the impression that it was done with regular finished stucco, to complement.
Give it that same look.
You get the same look. Yeah. Take some time, you know. I've been doing this for a long time, you know, 30 years on my own. So I've had a lot of time to sit and think about how I can make it look exactly like that. And what materials will help me, you know, to make it look like exactly like that.
Right.
You know. Sometimes I get really lucky, and like maybe not with this material here, but with the rapid set from Home Depot. Sometimes I've gotten lucky and the color comes out to be really close to the existing. I call it the magic batch, you know, the magic, it's magic stucco, because you put it on and the color kind of blends with it. It's like, wow, you know, that looks really good. So this is going to dry up considerably. It's going to be probably closer to that color when it's done. So it's not going to be too far off. You can see where it's kind of drying a little bit here around the edges. Even the color is not going to be too far off. It is going to be a cement color. So that should be not too bad for Dustin as he, during the interim until he gets it painted. Sometimes you could take a board and put it underneath here like a 2x4. Take a 2x4 and prop it up underneath here to give you a form. And it would make this, you know, perfectly square here from that point to that point. You know, you could square it off, you know. You could form it up. You could put blocks down here underneath it to form up a little piece of wood that you could use for a form. Otherwise, you do what I'm doing right here and just kind of looking at it and say, you know what, that's set back a little bit further. So I put a little bit more mud on there right there. And then when I'm all done, I run my trowel like that to level it off underneath. But you could see the difference in elevation between that point and this point here. There's a void right there. You see that hole? Mm-hmm. There's a hole in there. And I know that this does not stick out any further than that right there. But I could make that call by just looking at it, or I could take a piece of I could take my rod or my Darby and put it on there and make sure that I've got it. All right, so 1 drink of water to stay hydrated, and then we'll put this on there from that point to that point. You can see how low it is. I could move this down there and it'd be a little bit closer. But look at that big void. There must be about at least 1/4 of an inch to 3/8 of an inch down right here. There's a hole. So what I was talking about was taking a board and propping it up like this. And you can use this as like a form. See? So
yeah, be a good guy.
If I had some things like a rock, you know, I could stick in one side and put it on the other side over there. I could maybe make a form here just with this Darby. You know, something. Anyway, now I gotta use my other trowel, but that's okay. Okay, so the mud's starting to go, which is a good sign. And even with trying to fix this piece here, underneath here, this is good mud for doing something like that. You know what? Let me grab a margin trowel because I got to get underneath that pipe. So, and I'm gonna have to hold that derby too with one hand. So I got board here. Got something a little bit different. Something that might be a little bit easier to form on this. And I'm gonna wash this off here. Keep my tools clean in the process. Otherwise, it just makes cleanup that much harder at the end of the day. Okay, so I like what we're doing here with the form. See, I'm gonna have a nice straight shot right there instead of it caving in, being concave. So I brought some pieces back with me. To help build a form here. Maybe if I set it like this, there. There, if I could just get it to stay right about there. Oh, that's better than nothing, huh?
It's like that did the trick.
Yeah. So fast, so heavy right now, but I'll trim it off after it starts taking up, or else it'll just fall out. Now I can maybe use my derby to check it. Meanwhile, I'm going to put some mud. Well, I'm going to hold on for now. Now, let me see here. Grab my derby. I want to use that mud before it goes off. So I'm going to check this here. I want to make this. I want to move that guy right there. He's in my way. Jesse can put that back in later when he needs it. There you go. Here's that. Still good, I think. I don't think it's broken, but let's try that and see. Yeah, it's coming out pretty good. Pretty good. Whew, I'm liking that a lot better. So.
Looks great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be good when it's done, I hope. So. It's going to be real fragile here on the bottom today. Okay, now I'm going to fill in, or at least take the mud off. So I'm going to square that off. Needs to be filled in over here, maybe. A little filling right there or not? I don't know. Let me see here. Yeah, it's got to be filled in a little bit. Looks like I got a little piece of hay in there, right there. Make sure you've got hay in your mud. You know, make it stronger. They sell that down there at the masonry store. You can buy bundles of hay specifically for that reason. I'm just kidding. All right, this is looking good. It's gonna be really nice. Nice little patch here. Now I'm gonna take this trowel here and just kind of keep working this piece here. Leave these forms in here for a while till just before we're done. Then we'll pull those out. Okay, now I gotta get back over here on the on the mud and loosen it up and get it ready for texture while that's taking up. I gotta stay on top of this before it goes off inside the bucket, and then I have to mix more. Okay, so here's how we do that. I got a leaf in here from Mr. Rose Bush. Okay. All right. Let me clean this off here. Clean this trowel off here, keep it live. Ready to use. I don't even know if I'm going to be using that one texture or not, but it doesn't matter. It's only going to take a little bit, but notice I didn't have to wear my mask this time because I didn't put any new material in it, so that nothing is airborne right now. Although I am directly over this bag, which probably isn't good. Okay, see that consistency there? That's pretty good for texturing, okay? And we're gonna keep it like that. It might take up before we're ready and we can address it then, but right now, we're gonna float in the edges. We're gonna give it a base coat. We're gonna address this background here is part of the texture too. So we wanna do that first, and then we can put this top texture on and get it just as close as we can, so that nobody can tell, you know? After it gets painted, nobody can tell, except for you, me, and the lamppost.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we want to make that as nice as possible, so it's not a big eyesore during the life of the home. And we are here in Vacaville, California today, beautiful Vacaville, California, home of the nut tree and the nut tree airport. A lot of people come through here to check out the nut tree. It's a pretty good place. This is a beautiful place to live here in Vacaville. We got lots of creeks and streams and mountains and hills, and the weather is perfect all year long. It's not too hot, it's not too cold. It's just right. We're in the Goldilocks zone. Right here in California, we've got the Delta breeze blowing in here, through here to keep us cool in the hot summer nights. So we're getting close to the texture behind there. See how as I pull that, it kind of gives you the effect of the trowel marks. The chatter marks is what we call them in the background here. Plus it has the sandy feel. It's got sand in it, you know, it's got the sandy feel. So we have those in it as well. Okay, now we'll let it take up just a little bit longer, and we'll doctor up our mud and get it ready to texture. Okay, yeah. Okay, so the mud is ideal, but the wall's too wet. So we need to let that take up for a couple more minutes so that it will pull the mud off of my trowel rather than me just laying it on the wall and doing a god-awful texture job. So we have to respect the mud, you know, and we have to give it a little bit of time to dry. And that's what we do as plasterers. Sometimes, you know, you have to put a little bit of mud on, and then you have to wait for that coat to take up. But on something this small, it's kind of hard because it is so small. But still, so you still have to wait around, you know. So what I do is I start cleaning up, get all my stuff put away, get my wire and paper on the truck, we can put the sponge float on there and bring down that sand a little bit. It looks like it's a little bit heavy, so I can put this float on here and lay it down and bring it down so it looks like it's a little bit closer to the grain of sand you have on here. See, it takes the heavy sand off.
Yep.
Okay, so it lays it down a little bit more, and it's looking really close to the chatter lines that you have in the wall there, because all the lines from the float are going this way, and the chatter lines from the base coat when they put it on are all going that way as well. I've got a little bit of a dip right there that I don't like. I'll probably address it because I don't leave stuff like that behind, and I have a little bit of a dip right there. It's so minute, but I'm going to address it anyway because I don't like it. Okay guys, so we've got an area pretty much cleaned up here. So, but this is taking up quite a bit now. See, my fingers aren't even leaving an impression in it. So what I'm going to do is come back over here to my mud, and it's taking up to a point where I'm gonna have to just put some water in it. It's still alive, so I'm gonna save it. But this is the way it is normally, because when you wait for that to take up, this is drying. So just before we're ready to texture it, we have to loosen this up a little bit and bring it back to life. And we want it nice and creamy, so we can get a nice texture, a nice lacy texture on there. See, it's kind of a lacy texture here. We have a couple of pancakes, but for the most part, it's kind of lacy. So what you want to do, especially when you're using this type of material and trying to emulate what's on the wall, you have to have this has to be loose. And it has to be nice and creamy. And once again, we don't need much, but we want to make sure that the top of this is just right here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and try this, and I'm going to show you how to put the texture on when it comes down to this point here. Okay, so watch this now, watch this now. Watch this now. See this? I got. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that back in there. I'm prepping my hawk. What I'm doing. Okay, now I'm ready. Okay, that should texture this whole thing right here. We'll see. Okay, so a couple of different ways is you can come off into the back like that. And pull that up like that, and that's pretty good right there. I like that, what I just put on there. Or you could take it off of the front of the hawk like this. Most guys will take it off like that, and just like that. And most of your strokes are going to be up. A lot of these strokes are up, they go straight up. Sometimes you come at it at an angle, sometimes you cut it across like that. And you work into the existing texture here. Now, this has been painted, so we don't have to worry about this drying up real fast out here. But it's probably going to dry about the same on the existing and the new patchwork. If this had never been painted, then this is going to dry up right away, and you got to stay on top of this. So I'm going to come off the back of the hawk like that. For that piece. Notice I moved my hand around. I was like this, okay? I was like that. Now I'm like this, because I'm on the other side of that pipe right there. And it's easier for me to come at it like this. And I just put it on the mud right there. Here's that spot I was talking about earlier. It has a little bit of a dip in it. You put a little bit of mud on it right like that. And that's about all she wrote right there, guys. So I'm going to take a little bit of mud on my extra clean margin trowel and put it underneath that pipe like that. Now I'm even going to get some over here too. Put it right there. And what the heck, I'll put a little bit right there and there. Don't want to overdo it because there's a lot of open areas in this existing stucco. We don't want this looking really too nice right here. Well, you know, when I say that it's too nice, that's a matter of opinion. That's a judgment call. Some people might not like that really lacy look, but we just want to get it to match the existing. That's your goal, and I think we've achieved that. So when you're done, just go around the outside edge like this and knock down anything prominent. Wait 2 weeks before you paint it. If you want, you can water cure it. That's just giving it a shot of water a couple of days when it's cool, like in the morning or in the evening after the sun has gone down and the heat has come off of the wall. What do you think about that patch there, Justin?
I think it looks great, man.
Looks great?
It looks really good. It matches the other stucco. And yeah, it looks good.
So we're gonna pull this form out now, very carefully. We're gonna move it to the sideways and down if we can. Ah, it's in there pretty tight. I expect to lose a little bit of mud when I do this, but I can't help it. There. There you go. Okay, put this aside. Just gonna clean this up underneath here. There you go. Okay, clean up your area. Clean up all the wires and clean up your area, and that's about it. And that, my friends, is what it's all about.